Okay. I'm sure. Not another podcast episode about somebody's daily routine. I've listened to a ton and I've gleaned information from all of them and taken bits and pieces to put into my own. So I wanted to share the way that I create my daily routine and how I structure my life as a busy mom and wife and working from home entrepreneur trying to build a business. So I hope you'll join me on this episode and learn a little bit about what I do, and hopefully some of the tricks and tips will benefit you. But before we get into the episode, this episode is brought to you by my brand new course, Your Starter Site. And I am so excited to be launching this course for you guys. It is going to help you create a website that you've always wanted, that you know can grow with your business. So I hope you'll take a look at it. You can visit it at thefirstclick.net/starter site. Let's get to it.
You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business.
So let's face it. Being a busy entrepreneur or working for a small business, it's hard because you don't have a lot of staff and you're often doing all the things all the time. I myself am working on getting an assistant into my business that can help with some of the things that I don't need to be doing all the time. But getting to that point takes a lot of work. So first of all, don't stress. I also want to say that my routine has come from several different types of business entrepreneurs that I've been inspired by, and I've kind of picked and chosen the pieces that make the most sense for me. So I just wanted to provide my perspective. And I also want to say that this doesn't always happen every day. I'm human and I do the best that I can, and there are things out of my control. But if I can make this work several times a week, I'm on point, life is good, and I'm getting the things that I need to get done. So right now we're in a stage of growth in my business, so I am working almost 7 days a week, which is not ideal and won't be the case forever. We're just in this phase of life in our business, and we know it's working towards a bigger picture, and I'm very blessed to have my whole family on board with it. So I'm recording this episode on a Saturday. I have kicked my entire family out of the house so that I can take over all the Wi-Fi and also not have a lot of noise in the background. And that's just the way it is, and we're all working through it together. So let's get to a regular Monday through Friday day for me. I typically wake up at between 5 and 5:30 in the morning. And I know that's early for a lot of folks. It works for me. I've always been a morning person. I'm somebody who gets up, is energized, and ready to go. I start my day with a big glass of Emergen-C. I just like to have a big glass of water in the morning, and I feel like it just helps me get going. And depending on how I'm feeling, I might have a cup of tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, so it's not something that I have as part of my morning routine. I then come upstairs to my office and try to do about 15 to 20 minutes of yoga. I'm not worried about doing a huge practice, but really just to get my body moving because I do tend to sit most of the day. And so to stretch out my body and get it moving feels really nice. And then I have a gratitude / kind of goals journal that I've created, and I've stolen the practice from the wonderful Rachel Hollis. I will link some information from her website in the resources on the show notes. But basically what I do is write down 5 things that I'm grateful for from the day before. And then I have a list of the 10 things that success looks like for me. So what are the elements that I can celebrate because we've gotten there? And some of them are business related, like some of them are how many downloads I get off my podcast. And some of them are financial, some of them are personal. So one of them, for example, is the ability for us to be able to hire a housekeeper to come to our house a couple times a month so that we can spend more time with the kids and not so much time keeping up with the house. Because let's be real, cleaning on the weekends and cleaning every night, it just gets exhausting. And so that's one of the things that we really want for our family moving forward. So once I'm done with my gratitude journal and my what success looks like. Oh, and I should mention that I write those out as if they've already happened. Again, I'll link all that because Rachel Hollis has some great information on that. So I'll link to her podcast that she talks about it. But once I'm done with that, it's typically diving into email and walking through all of the things that I might have missed from the night before and making sure that I have everything kind of lined out. On our team, we use a tool called ClickUp, and that tool allows me to make sure that everybody that needs to know the information gets the information and assign tasks to myself and currently my business partner, Bucky, who works with me on all our projects. So I go through all my email, assign tasks as necessary, and file things away because for me, I've noticed I get a lot of anxiety around my email inbox. So if I can keep it as clean as possible, it works really well. So I use Google's multi-inbox feature to be able to organize all of the emails so I know what needs to be handled and what doesn't. And same with the ClickUp app to put tasks in with due dates and make sure everything's communicated so that I've got everything filed away. I don't need to worry about it. I also use a combination of a paper planner and my Google Calendar. So as I'm going through all of my emails, I'm making notes and to-do lists in my paper planner. And I have all of my actual tasks, I have all my actual calendar items, meetings, and appointments in my Google Calendar. This allows me then to, once I've gone through my email, to take a look at what my schedule looks like for the day and the tasks that I have on hand, and to be able to plan my activities for what I want to accomplish. So then I try to fill out on my calendar the things and the time blocks that I'm going to give myself in order to be able to accomplish those tasks. What are the priorities that have to be done? What are kind of the big three things that are going to move my business forward, and go from there. Now, I am one who feels stressed out if my to-do list isn't done, and so I read a wonderful book by John Acuff, which I will also link in the resources, which really talks about giving yourself that grace. And if you've actually completed tasks that drive your business forward, then don't stress out about it. Add it to the next day's to-do list and move forward. So I do my best to really try and have my set priorities in place, communicate that with my team, and ensure that we're doing the best by our clients and students to deliver what we say we're going to deliver and continue to move things in a forward momentum. So that's pretty much how my week goes, Monday through Friday. My kids go to school most of the day, and in the summers, I'm very blessed to have my mother here to help keep them entertained, so we don't have them in daycare. But there are some ebbs and flows that happen. For example, I try on Tuesdays to not take any client meetings and have that day dedicated to working on my business. And those are things that are communicated in advance. These are all things that I attempt to do. And again, some weeks are better than others. Some months are better than others. For example, this month, I'm in the middle of a launch for my course. So that means my schedule's a little bit different all around. But that's okay, because I'm working through it. When the kids have early release on Thursdays during the school year, I try to take those afternoons to spend time with them. It doesn't always work depending on what's going on, but I put my best effort into trying to make sure that non-negotiable items on my calendar are taken care of. And really making sure that I own my calendar Monday through Friday. And I'm taking advantage of the things that I've got, the things that need to be done, and communicating with those involved what is happening. Now, on the weekends, like I mentioned right now, I'm definitely working most weekends, not all day, but a little bit of time on both days. And that's just a communication with my husband and my kids to let them know what I've got going on and what we're working towards. I do sleep in, and sleeping in my household is about 7 a.m., but I do sleep in on the weekends just to try to give myself that mental break, and I definitely try to give myself some time to step away. Now on Sundays, in the afternoon, I like to set some time aside to plan for my week ahead. And that's pulling out my paper planner and filling in all of the appointments that I've got for the following week and kind of starting to outline in my brain, what are the things that I have to get done next week? How can I block out time for that to ensure that I give myself the space to get those things accomplished? And this has really helped me with my stress level and with my sleeping. Because when I know that I've got my tasks written down and I know it has to get done and I have it set aside in a space on a Wednesday morning or a Friday afternoon, whatever it might be, it really allows me to focus on the things that I need to get done now and not worry about the things that need to get done in the future because I know I've got that space set aside. And that's typically my week. I hope that you found some useful tips, and I would love to hear what organizational tips you have that you use in your business because we're all juggling lots of things. And I like to not use the word busy because I feel like it's an overused word that we all say, I'm so busy. Yeah, we're all busy. But it's about making sure the important things get done and ensuring that we're doing the tasks that are really going to drive our business forward in line with the goals that we've set for ourselves. I also do 90-day planning and annual planning. And so if that's something you would love to hear more about, then definitely hit me up on Facebook and Instagram at The First Click Marketing, or leave us a comment on the show notes for this page at thefirstclick.net/podcast. I'd love to chat with you guys about your organizational goals, or if you have a planner that you love. I have a DIY planner that I've made myself, and I'd be happy to share more about what that looks like with you as well. But organization and structure is a work in progress for me all the time, and I'm always trying to do better. And so don't beat yourself up if you can't get it pulled together right away, or if you have a day that's a little bit all over the place. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I look forward to coming to your ears every week. And if you like what you hear, make sure you rate us, especially on Apple Podcasts, and reach out to me if you're a small business owner who would love to have a conversation on our podcast about an area of your business that you're struggling with. Once a month, we feature businesses just like you on our podcast. For now, thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.